watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And just before we introduce our guest for our conversation on continuous voter registration, let's take this background report by Oyeyemi Ajayi.
Over time, there have been complaints in some quarters about being unable to complete voter registration, book appointments, or replace lost or damaged permanent voter cards with little to communication from INEC about what is happening or what to do, with many feeling left behind in the process, especially after the completion of the second phase of the program on the 17th April 2026. The announcement by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) of the resumption of the continuous voter registration exercise nationwide sets the ball rolling for the third and final phase of the program. The exercise commenced on Monday, 11th May 2026, following the suspension of the second phase on the 17th April 2026, which is said to allow the Commission to clean up the register following the claims and objections period by registrants. The third phase will run until 10th July 2026, urging eligible voters who have turned 18, as well as those who missed previous registration windows, to utilize this final period to enroll. Also, registered voters seeking to transfer their registration, replace lost or damaged permanent voter cards, or correct personal biodata are advised to use the Commission's dedicated online portal. The Commission reassures Nigerians that all necessary arrangements have been concluded for the smooth conduct of the exercise. Now, can this phase address all necessary initial complaints made or talked about? Can we guarantee a transparent process? Our guest already in the studio will be answering these questions and more shortly.
Well, thanks, Oyeyemi Ajayi. Can we guarantee a transparent process? All of that we'll get to hear from our guest seated right here in the studio to get into the conversation this morning on continuous voter registration. And it's a pleasure to introduce Victoria Etemesi, Director of Voter Education and Publicity, INEC. Many thanks for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right. Also here for the conversation is Abubakar Umar Kari, Professor of Political Sociology from the University of Abuja. Many thanks, Prof, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
We also have seated here in the studio Chief Obin Namwaka, Director General Committee of Youth on Mobilization and Sensitization. He's seated here in the studio. Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
And we also have seated here Dr. Olukemi Afolayan, Director Civic Values and Democracy Education, National Orientation Agency. Thank you so much for coming.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
And let's commend the National Orientation Agency for doing well.
Thank
we are
you.
seeing it on screen.
Thank you.
We commend you because every time we say why are you working together with the National Orientation Agency in states and all that, but
thank you.
Kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Ray?
All right, let's begin as we talk about this third and final phase of the continuous voter registration, as we prepare for the 2027 general election. And I'd like to begin with the INEC representative here, that's Victoria Etemesi, Director, Voter Education and Publicity. Tell us, how prepared is INEC for this last phase of the registration before 2027?
Thank you once again. INEC is prepared. We started yesterday, the 11th of May, and this is the third phase, as was reiterated in your intro. So we started this last lap on the 18th of August. We had the first phase, 18th of August till the 10th of December. We had the second phase from the 5th of January, and we ended on the 17th of April. We've done the back-end activities and processes to try to clean up the data, to have the register, to also process the PVCs for the registrants to pick up. So now this is the last lap, and seeing how interested people are in the 2027 election, I think that they cannot take it for granted. And I think I'm also seeing a lot of energy in people seeing that they really need to participate and be a player in deciding the outcome for 2027 election. So we're taking this last phase seriously, knowing that it's the last opportunity for anyone who wants to participate in the 2027 election. Somehow, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but this is the shortest, again, considering the fact that the Electoral Act was amended and the timeline was reduced, and that is why you have this last phase is shorter than the first two phases. And so it's important that people come up, turn up as soon as they can.
When is it
to participate. It's ending on the 10th of July.
We have new voters coming on board.
Yes.
Every electionary year we see people registering and all that. But usually we don't see it when it's time to vote. Actually, you have an online portal. How is it going? Are Nigerians going on the online? How is the internet working? Are Nigerians accepting to register online?
They are. It's actually working seamlessly, except for maybe the grassroots residents. But people in the urban areas are taking advantage of that. And again, the principle behind that was to simplify and cut down or reduce your wait time at the office, so that you do your pre-registration and you just go to any of the designated centers closest to you to complete the process.
What about the voter education? Are you working in conjunction with?
We're partners. we're partners. I was surprised when I saw her. I was like, oh, my sister is here with me.
So how is the collaboration like?
No, we're working together. We have representation of NOA at the grassroots, all the local government areas. We also have our field officers at all the local government areas. We have activities that we are co-implementing.
Okay.
All right, Prof, I'd like to get to you. Unfortunately, you're not going to be spending too much time with us, so we should get all we can from you before you leave us. Prof, I mean, you've heard INEC say they are ready. That's what we always get to hear, whether it's before a registration exercise or before an election. But of course, there are always glitches here and there. Speak to us about the people, actually. Do you think that the Nigerian electorate are sensitized, or if you like, educated enough as regards the electoral process, considering the fact that, you know, some get registered, misplace their PVCs, or if you like, sell PVCs, right? Some get registered, collect the PVCs to do other things, banking services, and not really to vote. Just speak about all of that, you know, our political space and how ready we are for 2027.
Well, I think it is fair to say that by and large, usually positively respond to the issue of voters registration. However, this task for me is a multi-stakeholder thing. INEC does its part, NOA, but one of the major stakeholders are the political parties. I'm not sure they are doing enough, and at the end of the day, they are the major beneficiaries if people go out to register. When they come for canvassing for voters, ordinarily it should have been much easier for them if they convince people to go out and register. But for me, they are not doing enough. Also, beyond political parties, the issue of registration is at the core of democratic rights. One of the political rights is the right franchise, to exercise one's constitutional right to vote. And therefore, all other institutions in the society should also be involved, should be mobilized, beginning from the family. The other agents and agencies of this mobilization appear to be doing their part, particularly the media. But beyond that, other institutions like the religious system, the school system, even the professional groups should be able to mobilize, because democracy operates on the basis of the more the merrier. The more people register, the more likely our democratic edifice will be strong, elections will be credible, and will boast and being for being the largest democracy in Africa. And therefore, this task shouldn't be taken lightly, shouldn't be taken seriously. Everybody should be involved. It's good that INEC say they are ready, and I think it is helpful for us to be optimistic. And I am personally aware that to a very large extent, the online registration has been going on well. I have known of people who have registered and who have even claimed, okay, that they have picked up their cards and so on and so forth. Therefore, it is incumbent on all of us Nigerians, from the level of the family and every other facet of life, to take these things seriously, because I reiterate the fact that it is at the core of our democratic growth and consolidation. If you don't register, you are not Nigerian, not for me, because as Nigerians, we should be able to decide the best system for us, the best people to govern us, and this is the starting point and the most important part of it. So it's a very serious exercise that we should take very seriously.
And as a political and sociology scientist, you know, political parties like the political nomads, you know, they often mobilize aggressively, you know, during continuous voter registration. Some may call it mobilization and manipulation. Where do we draw the line here?
Well, I have been very pessimistic about them, because if I were an official of a political party, for instance, this exercise, they should have been able to set up particular offices, empower individuals and groups, and give them definite tasks and responsibilities right from the level of the ward, and say, I'm giving you the task of mobilizing, for instance, 100 new registrants from every ward, because at the end of the day, they are the major beneficiaries. So it is better for them to mobilize than to conspire to manipulate, as you put it. At the end of the day, it is much easier for them if they pick them young, so to say. And beyond the young ones, there are so many other Nigerians who, for one reason or the other, have been reluctant to register. So, being the major beneficiaries, political parties should ordinarily be more serious about mobilization rather than manipulation.
Okay, thank you. Now let's bring the youth into this conversation to NOA. You know, many young Nigerians are enthusiastic online but reluctant to leave their, you know, space to go outside and also register. And then there are glitches. The time limit is too short. So as a youth and as somebody that is working with the Youth Mobilization Committee and Sensitization, what are you doing to make sure they leave that space, go out, register, so that they can impact?
Thank you very much, and I'm glad that you're bringing this question to the table, and I want to seriously commend the INEC for what they are doing, and especially the NOA. Before this time, we've never had it, when the joint working relationship and also the sensitization. But I want also to lay emphasis on this continual voters registration that just commenced yesterday. People like us who are elites and who are also enlightened on social media, because people like me are following INEC on every social media platform. I'm aware that the continual voters registration exercise commenced yesterday. What about other people? NOA have tried, and I want to appeal for NOA and INEC to team up and ensure that there is a lot of sensitization on this continual voters exercise, because the mind of the young people are divided because of the political tension that we are having right now. And you all can also agree with me that there's a tension in the society already. Many of them are confused. And we as an organization, we have been putting on several measures to make sure that our people, they leave the space or being unnecessarily busy, to ensure that they procure that PVC, because it's very, very essential. People like us, we have trust, even my current voter's card. I registered through online. Some amendment was also done, and I went to the INEC headquarters and collected the card itself. So how are we ensuring this? We have a lot of programs that are being put into place that will facilitate through the federal government, partners and organized private sectors. One of the criteria that we will always ensure is that if they have their PVC, if they don't have their PVC, they should not do what? Participate in any of our activity. Why are we doing this? I'm not a politician, and I'm not working with any political party, but we just wanted to have this sense of governance leadership and how they can also hold their leaders accountable. I find it difficult to engage with young people, especially when they are criticizing leaders they are not doing well or poor governance in the society. The first thing I ask that, do you exercise your franchise? If you tell me yes or no, then do you have your PVC? If you don't have your PVC, there's a limit of discussion and I can engage with you. Do you understand? So those programs we put into place, like so many programs that's coming up, the NCPA, the federal government, Hugo Fellowship program coming up in South Africa. So what to ensure that when you are filling up the form as an applicant or to be a beneficiary, we always put that column.
You must be a registered.
You must be a registered voters carrier. You must show that you have your PVC, because I can't see a reason why you are 18 years and above, and you cannot hold your leaders accountable by showing that, yes, I voted for you, and I have every reason to ask you questions regarding to governance, regarding to finance, regarding to the poor infrastructure in my community, and they will respect you. And if you look at what is going on, most of our young people, they are being demoralized. How are they being demoralized? Because most of the people that I look up to, they are not showing leadership quality. They are not showing leadership quality. People like us, we take it very, very serious to make sure that they participate. And this online registration is one of the best that has happened to the young people, because the young people now, they are Gen Z. They want this to be done very easily. And with the online portal, it has made things very easy. That's why you can see that the registration exercise, especially the online, is very, very more easier, effective, and achieving more success.
But are they going to collect the card itself, not just registering? Are they going to INEC? That's why I said
no, they are going to INEC to collect the card, because we are on our own path. I remember even the last FCT election, we were on field, we were busy engaging the young people to go and ensure that they participate in this exercise.
Chief Nwaka, I would like to ask how much of this mobilization that you're talking about has gone. Because, I mean, if you look at the statistics from previous elections, it is clear that those who collect PVCs, when I would talk about those who register don't collect PVCs, that's a multitude on its own. Those who even collect PVCs, we see that just a very little percentage, not up to 50%, go out to vote. So, I mean, are you sensitizing beyond just getting registered or getting registered to participate in the programs you're talking about, or getting registered to be involved actively in the election
But you know
process?
one thing about participation in an election, sometimes you cannot force them to do that. You can only try your best. And sometimes what they see in the society, the character of our leaders also encourage them to do what? To participate in this exercise. Young people are very sensitive. They see. What they see is what sometimes that occurs your mind on what they want to do. You can force someone to go to the swimming pool, but you know you cannot force that person to swim. And voting is like swimming. Sometimes they just do it because maybe their parents, their leaders are just forcing them to go and participate. Now, there are so many things if we put into place, into consideration, young people will be energized, they'll be encouraged, they'll be motivated to participate in this exercise. And look at what took place yesterday. INEC and NYC, they signed an MOU. Do you know how many numbers of young people, coppers, that are also going to be deployed as Al-Hajj staff? 1.something million. And most of these people, let's say 80% of them, they really want to do what? To participate in this exercise. But they will be disenfranchised automatically. Even if they are coppers, they have the right to vote. But because of what they have been engaged in, they will not, okay, now reduce 1.4 million naira out of the voter strength of the young people that comprises about 75% of the voters population in the country. Remove 1.5 million. So that is when you now realize that the shortage, and now remove the percentage of people who are sitting on the fence. I don't know who to vote for. Let me just be in my house. Now remove the percentage of people who are already demoralized completely. Maybe maybe what they are expecting is not what they are seeing. They remove the percentage of people or some politicians who they will not be giving tickets in their various political parties, because they also have followers who are also young people, and they have a way of being being encouraged or being sensitized or being motivated by their leaders. Their leaders can tell them, there's no need for you to go and vote because I'm not giving the ticket. I've not been encouraged to be at the ballot. So we are doing more than what people are just seeing on the social media.
Many thanks.
We are doing our best.
Dr. Falaya, I'm glad you're sitting on the same couch with, you know, Chief Nwaka.
Yes.
You heard him talk about the issues. It's not really about sensitizing people to go out to vote. It's about what happens on election day, what happens after election. All of this have a cumulative effect on what happens, you know, in the next scheduled election. I want to know what NOAA is doing. Well, you've been commended already, but away from the commendation, it looks like you have more work to do. Speak to us about what NOAA is doing, the National Orientation Agency is doing, you know, to ensure that this whole electoral process is as clean as possible. I mean, away from just registering, let's talk about people who sell, people who do vote buying. They get PVC because they believe they'll get money on election day. Those who vote because somebody has coerced them, not because they think, you know, this is right or that is right. And then speak about the leaders themselves. What is NOAA trying to sensitize leaders also in all of this electoral matter?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question. Yes, NOAA has been up and doing in the regard of not only voter education, in the regard of having a smoothless democratic process, a credible democratic process. You asked whether we've been talking to leaders. NOAA has been meeting leaders more than ever before, because even when we meet youth, different stakeholders, women groups, traditional rulers, they ask us the same questions. Are you talking to the leaders? So more than ever before, we've been talking to leaders, and that is why NOAA came up with what we call the National Values Charter, where we have what we call the Nigerian Promise. The Nigerian Promise is what leaders, elected leaders, leaders across all sectors of the society, even civil servants, INEC, NOAA, the police, what we should do. Some of these goals are that leaders should be people of integrity. Leaders should be accountable to people that elects them. Leaders should have discipline. Leaders should have tolerance. Because on elections day, like you said, many people will not want to come out for fear of attack, for fear of violence breaking out on election day. So NOAA has been moving around, meeting different stakeholders, and especially leaders of political parties, and also elected leaders, present crops of elected leaders from national assemblies to state executive council, to governors, to state assembly members, and even to aspirants, people aspiring to occupy elective posts. So one of our, we are targeting as many leaders as possible, and we are encouraging them, sensitizing them, enlightening them why they need to be responsible leaders, why they need to be accountable leaders, why they need to be patriotic leaders. All these are about patriotism. If you are patriotic, you will not want to do anything that will derail the democratic process in your own constituency, in your own ward, in your home community, and not to even talk of the country as a whole. So NOAA has been meeting as many leaders as possible, even youth leaders. We talk of elected leaders, we talk of politicians, we talk of how they behave on election day. Many of these we claim they are not acceptable to us. But who are the people that they use? They are youths.
They are youths.
They engage youths on elections day. They engage youths even before election. So we also meet youth leaders, and I'm glad that we have a youth leader here, like you rightly say. So, and then we also talk to women groups. We talk to women groups to talk to mostly to talk to their children, to talk to their wards, to talk to even their husbands, to talk to leaders around them. So we are ensuring that we have a smoothless democratic process from before election, even after elections. And then the beauty of what I spoke earlier, the National Values Charter, is that the Federal Executive Council have approved for NOA that after 2027 elections, all elected leaders from local government to state level to National Assembly, to governors, and even to the president, they are going to go through what we call enlightenment on how to be accountable leaders.
So are you doing enough, to ensure that there's inclusiveness for women, persons living with disability, displaced persons, and what is the greatest barrier you're facing as you continue to educate Nigerians to register and vote?
Yes, we are doing enough. Like I said, we are meeting different stakeholders.
What is your barrier to, what do people tell you when you go out?
Before, I'll be honest enough to tell you that one of the challenges that we have is apathy. People have like a daisical attitude to even to registering as voter, to getting, and even some will even go and register and they will refuse to pick up their permanent voter's card. So one of the challenges is voter apathy. But we are doing a lot in this regard. We are enlightening Nigerians on why they need to get involved in what happens around them, why they need to be part of the democratic process, why they need to register as voters, why they need even to contest, especially like you said, people that we see as disadvantaged groups, women, people living with disabilities. So we are doing so much. And one of the beauty of NOA campaigns is that we don't just stay in Abuja alone. We move around communities, around local governments. We have officers in 774 local governments who move into communities to meet different stakeholders, who identify people who can also join us to mobilize Nigerians to participate.
Thank you, Dr. Afolayan, Director Civic Values and Democracy Education at the National Orientation Agency. I'd like to get back to Victoria Etemesi now. As we talk about the registration process, I would like you to respond to critics who think that some areas are favored in terms of registration, as against others. Like you have more centers in certain parts of this country. Or if you like, there are officials of INEC or those involved in the registration process who slow down the process in certain parts of the country and, do the needful in other parts. There are also reports that underage Nigerians have been registered. Respond to all of this.
Since we started this three-phase exercise, I'm not aware that we've received reports about underage registration. I don't have that information.
Okay, what about
with regards to the fact that we're slowing down in some areas, and I don't see how possible that is, because you have equal number of devices per local government. So every local government has, so the devices that are released are based on the number of local governments. And there are even instances where when you see that in some areas you have numbers, huge numbers with regards to population. The population is there. The statistics of registered of citizens based on the census statistics, that could also determine. And again, once we start and we see the traffic, then you know that definitely there is need for you to provide additional support. And from the second phase, one good thing that came out of the exercise where we were rotating the devices, because we saw that there was increased registration and ease of registration for citizens, so to speak. What we did was days were apportioned the local governments to begin to move these devices areas by areas. So local governments, electoral officers were empowered or mandated to draw up a plan and to fully sensitize the communities, to let them know that from this day to this day, the device will be in your community. And so that also took away that stress of people going to the local government office, noting the fact that there are local government areas that are far from the communities. And so that was made known, and that is what we're continuing with in third phase. So that rotation or devolution of the exercise to the area is continuing in this third phase. The electoral officers...
So what you're saying is that the number of officials and number of devices for each local government is the same across the country?
Yes, it is.
No community or no local government receives more than another community?
None.
And
we have even increased the number of devices again for this third phase. So what the number of
all the local governments?
Across all the local governments.
No community is deprived?
None.
Okay, fantastic. Speak to us about the register itself. There were reports in previous elections that people who were dead or people who, all kinds of people on the register. The mop-up or the cleanup you're talking about, has that set that straight? What's the guarantee that in the next election we're not going to be seeing people's names, that shouldn't be on the register? Or
Michael Jackson.
Yes, exactly. So
if you recall, about a month ago there was this argument and noise about revalidation, and that was essentially what the revalidation exercise was meant to do. But people really came out strongly against it, maybe because of the timing. But outside of the revalidation exercise, the CVR exercise is designed in such a way that after every phase, at the end of every phase, there's provision for hearing of claims and objections. And that is where the community and the citizens have the opportunity to come to object to the inclusion of names, because you're expected to know people in your community. And so if you see a foreign or strange name on the register, because the preliminary register would be printed, by the time we stop registration, we print out the preliminary register and it's pasted at the communities. And you're supposed to, during the display, to go check out the register, the preliminary register, and to flag any name that you think shouldn't be there. But people do not do that. A lot of people do not take that portion of the exercise seriously, going to look whether there may be errors with your own name. So you're making a claim for yourself, and you could also make or raise objection to any name that is there that shouldn't be there. So we had that in the first phase, we had that in the second phase, and at the end of the third phase, there's again going to be a window for display of the preliminary register, and then for claims and objections to be made. And it is during that period that these names that shouldn't be there would be weeded from the preliminary register before we can now have a permanent register.
How do you guarantee that those being registered are Nigerians?
If you look at guest is leaving by 8:30.
Yeah, maybe just quickly respond. How do you guarantee that the person being registered is a Nigerian?
You're expected to provide a means of identification. You're expected to provide a means of identification. So if you have a means of identification, the Electoral Act 2026 says your name, your birth certificate, and your international passport, any of those. So if you have those documents, then you are a Nigerian.
Okay, great. Prof, now, one of the issues that the NOA said is voter apathy, one of the greatest challenges they face. And do you think, in your opinion, the political class is doing enough to restore public trust in elections? And why are internal, party crisis and defections overshadowing the real voter education itself there? Let's get you.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if we have to apportion blame, then the political class, particularly the leadership segment of the political class, should bear the biggest proportion of the blame for voter apathy. Voter apathy is an outcome of several factors. One of the major factors, of course, are the actions, inactions, and activities of members of the political class. I earlier on, for instance, mentioned the surprising inertia on the part of the political parties, who are supposed to be the major beneficiaries of election, to come out and fully participate in the CVR. That is one. Also, the way the political class conduct itself scare away voters or discourages voters from coming out to vote, which is actually apathy. The endless crisis, fracas, recrimination, violence, clear and present danger to peace and stability within the political parties also constitute a huge dampener against people to come out and exercise their franchise. But even more seriously, the performance or lack of it of members of the political class if and when they're in control of the levers of power. Also serves as a great disincentive for people to come out and vote. In other words, leaders have not been doing well. They have not been delivering the goods. They have disappointed many Nigerians who gradually now come to the conclusion that they are coming out to vote is tantamount to an exercise in futility, because the leaders are not adding any value to society. Yes. So there are so many factors, but at the root of everything, as far as I'm concerned, as I mentioned earlier on, are the actions, activities, inactions, and sometimes reactions of members of the political class, as represented by political parties, politicians, and political leaders.
Away from the political class, Prof, do you think that the electoral body itself has done well in delivering its mandate? Do you think that some people would not see the need to register, maybe looking at the fact that, well, in previous elections, there are people who have registered who couldn't vote because of logistical reasons, right? So do you think that the electoral body itself has positioned itself to be trusted such that Nigerians will continue to have faith in the electoral process? Well,
if we go by experience and figures, what I mean by figures, for instance, election day experiences are usually judged in terms of how soon election materials are moved to polling units, to RAs, and so on. So if you go by statistics, particularly from election monitors and observers, it will be extremely difficult to blame INEC, because between 80 and 90% of polling units usually, in previous election, got election materials before the opening of vote time, which was 8 o'clock. However, where INEC may be complicit, for me, in a way, has to do with its inability to fulfill its promise, particularly in terms of collation and use of the electronic system to transfer votes and to display votes, and so on and so forth. Particularly during the 2023 election, INEC made a commitment that votes were going to be displayed electronically for everybody to see. As they are voting, the whole thing can be monitored live, and so on and so forth. It was even one of the controversies that went all the way to the Supreme Court. And before then, we have always insisted that one of the major challenges INEC faces, and which it has not been able to sufficiently address, is the issue of transition of election results, particularly from the polling units to the local collection center and to the central collection center. It is alleged that certain unwholesome activities usually take place. INEC denies that all the time, but again, beyond INEC, there is also the issue of the Nigerian factor and the desperation of members of the political class, if we go back to political class again, who largely play zero-sum politics. They insisted that they must win at all costs, and so on. Elections at all levels are usually played as if it's a do-or-die affair. And therefore, INEC comes into a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure is put on INEC, and members of the political class are not fully satisfied. So they also go to town and blame INEC for certain things that they are actually the cause.
Okay, I'm still going to stay with you. Our producer is saying we should read some messages from our viewers so that you can respond to them before you leave. One of them said, good morning. Emmanuel from Port Harcourt said, okay, that's for Madam. Please, what is the link for the online PVC registration and how can I go about it? And Alhaji Garko Karo site from Abuja said, good morning. He said the continuous voter registration is a very serious tax on all Nigerians and should be taken serious by citizens of 18 years and above. The registration should continue not until when election is approaching, as children will continue to reach the age of 18 years on a daily basis. And another one said, since last year, some have applied for renewal of voters card and up to now we have not been given. The response has always been, it is not ready by the INEC staff. And another one said, with the state of insecurity across the nation and traveling from one place to another to go and vote, why can't people be allowed to have their registration at the village and in the city, so that when it is election time, if they choose to go to the village to vote, they can go, and if they choose to stay in the city and vote, they can stay. So you see differing opinions there. You know, you don't need to go to your village to vote, don't you think?
No, you don't. As a matter of fact, there is a window that you can actually change your voting point. If you register at a certain place and maybe you move to another area, or it's not longer convenient for you, you can use the INEC process and change your voting center. It is allowed.
Are Nigerians really aware that this voters card is their power?
That is why I said
really aware that they have power.
Institutions, groups and individuals that are supposed to sensitize Nigerians have not done enough. Yes, there have been collaboration between INEC, NOA, the civil society, the political parties and so on, but more needs to be done. Many Nigerians are not aware, or many Nigerians are so apathetic. And so there is a need to do something concrete to allay their fears, to dissuade them from entertaining certain feelings that this voting is no big deal. And this CVR or voter registration, I keep saying, is at the core of everything. I may decide to register today and not vote in 2007, but the very possession of a voter's card will now make me eligible to vote any other time. So it is better to go and register and be an eligible voter, even if from time to time I'm not conversing for that anyway. People are not going to vote, because if you don't register, you are not eligible to vote at any other time. So the first thing to do, the primary thing to do, the most fundamental thing is go out and register first. If you register, then every other thing now follows. Then there will be the task of convincing you as a voter to come out and vote. So that is why this voter registration is very, very important. It's the basic minimum. Without it, nothing happens. It's the foundation for exercising franchise.
All right, many thanks, Prof. Maybe I should stay with you one more time, because it looks like you'll be leaving us shortly. You talked about more should be done in terms of voter education. I'd like to ask, are the socio-economic pressures also a driver as to how Nigerians react to electoral matters?
Yeah, okay, they are. They always generally affect the life of a people. The reality is that life is so hard across the country that some people believe, and you cannot fault their position, that they are so busy trying to eke out a living they are so busy trying to survive that they may not be able to spare time to go and register. There is also the issue of access. Perhaps, I don't know how INEC are making it. Some people may complain that they cannot even afford to go to the place where the registration is taking place because of economic problems, or they cannot afford to wait all day or for a considerable period of time. I'm not advancing an excuse, but it's a possibility. But any day, any time, the state of the economy, it directly affects every other facet of life. And you agree with me that the state of the economy is not exactly pleasant. And this, to an extent, if not substantially, accounts for the reluctance of many people to go out and register. It also dovetails into the voter apathy thing. On election day, some people are simply so busy, some people cannot really afford to go to the voting centers and vote, or cannot afford to spare enough time to go and vote. Therefore, reviving the economy, improving the state of the economy is also a necessary precondition for the success of voters' registration. That is a reality that we cannot wish away.
Fantastic, Prof. All right, we have more messages. I'll quickly read some that I have here. This one says, good morning, gentlemen and women there in the studio. My name is Samuel Adesian. Please, INEC should try and keep a center in Papi. Please, I want to have my own voter card, and our votes should count. God bless Nigeria. Victoria, that's
yes, and that
okay.
other question I read, you know, that the INEC staff will tell them it is not ready.
Yeah.
All right.
It is not ready. And this one said, where can he find the link for the online PVC registration, and how can he go about it?
All right, I'll just read some more, so maybe you answer them together. Since you have a pen, so you can just note them. This one says, please, my name was mistakenly posted to a unit that's not mine during the previous registration. Can I do a transfer to my unit in this present registration? Another one says, good morning, Nigerians. Registration and voting is our right and shouldn't be taken as a business by INEC. NIN should be encouraged as our qualification to vote. NIN should be given at birth with birth certificate. Registration every now and then or continuous voters registration is economic waste. Please configure Beaver's machine to work with NIN and also accessible anywhere and not limited to where you register or reside only, because one might be somewhere on the voting day. That's from Mason Ojo. Your point is well noted. I'm sure Madam Victoria has put that down. This says, good morning all. Nice topic. Please, the link to register online. Okay, that has already been asked. Another person is asking here. This one says, the representative of NOA has said it all. The attitude of elected leaders are the main reasons people are discouraged to go out for voting. In my state, we call our governor Mr. Promise. Since he was elected into office, he has not fulfilled 1 out of 10 promises. Bawa Isa Ahmed from Jalingo, thank you for your message. I hope your governor is watching.
We hope so too.
And I hope he fulfills his promises. Another one says, good morning, Nigeria. NTA crew and panelists. I'm Dr. Amanze Chimeze, watching from Owerri. Good to know. A lot of electoral reform still needed in our polity. INEC is trying, but needs to do more. NOA is almost abandoning its duty to orientate Nigerians. We need real-time electronic votes collation to eradicate all shenanigans, malpractices experienced within this space. This is when we'll get it right. Thank you, Dr. Amanze Chimeze. Thank you. And that one says, good morning to you all. I'm Cyril texting from Ebonyi State, main town Hausa quarters. I lost my voter's card. Where can I register in Abakaliki? Another one says, Oluwaseyi Olayemi, please, what can National Orientation Agency say about the underage registration in the north? I observed most of the northern part don't even care about age during PVC registration. Yet, okay, I can't read that part of your comment. Thank you very much, Oluwaseyi Olayemi. All right.
So I should respond
you want to respond?
Yeah,
sure.
Respond before we go on break.
Okay. So the issue of the link is cvr.inecnigeria.org. Once you go there, you'll see the drop down of the services. We have the updates, we have the transfer that you were talking about, we have the request for replacement of PVCs if you've lost it, and even the fresh registration. So CVR,
The online link again?
yeah, www.cvr.inecnigeria.com or www.cvr.inec.gov.ng. Either of those will take you to the portal where you'll see the services and the drop down, and you access whichever you want.
You go to INEC office to collect.
Yes, and that's the pre-registration, and then once you're done with that, you now have to go to a center nearest to you for the biometric capture for fresh registration. But for transfer, for request for replacement, you can finish all of that online. You
What
don't
change
need
of
to.
name?
That's update. You can also do that online.
Okay.
That's update.
Okay.
You can do those online.
So
it's only when you're registering as a fresh registrant that you need the 2 steps. But all others, you can start and finish online.
How long will it take before you get the PVC?
The PVC, yes. For the first phase, the first and second phases, the PVCs they will begin to distribute the PVCs in the 2nd week of June. Recall I told you earlier that there were some back-end processing, synchronization of the register, cleaning up, production of the PVC, sorting, and then distribution. So following our timeline, 2nd week of June, we're supposed to begin distribution or collection of the PVCs. That's for the 1st and 2nd. And for the 3rd, since we're still on, that would be sometime in October.
All right, I hope your online portal doesn't experience any kind of glitch.
I don't think anyone has complained recently.
No one
Why
has
is everyone
complained.
looking forward to a glitch?
No, it's
There's
just a
no
question.
glitch.
It's
No,
just
there
a
is no
question.
glitch. It's not
Okay,
in our
before we
character.
go on the break now, we need to thank our guest, Professor Abubakar Umakari, Professor of Political Sociology, University of Abuja. Thank you so much for your contribution to the conversation.
It's a pleasure.
We
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
Yes. Take a break. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. We still have our guests seated here in the studio, and we've been discussing continuous voter registration in Nigeria, and we just have a time limit to July 10. July 10. Okay. Let's bring Obinna. Obinna, we cannot overemphasize the importance of the young population we have in Nigeria. I think we have some of the youngest population in the world, but most of them, I remember in 2023, people have told that if you don't have a voter's card, you cannot be able to, your bank account may not function, and so many things, and a lot of people went out of more than 18-point-something million Nigerian youths registered. But when it came to the election proper itself, they were nowhere to be found. You're doing enough, yes, but can you do more?
Yes, we are doing more. I will continue to do our best. Just like I said before, that you can force someone to the pool, but you cannot force a person to swim. What if force the person to swim? The person tries to swim and get drowned. So the young people, the strength of this nation lies in the hands of the young people. So many nations in the world.
I asked you this because most of them said we want power. It's our time. We want to lead. We want to become governors. We want to become president. But are they backing it up with action?
They are already leading.
Okay.
Let me tell you. Let me give you some instances. I studied education economics in my first degree, and those days we used to think that factors of production is only land, capital. But it was when I now got into youth activism and I realized that the factors of production here in Nigeria is the youth too. Yes. If you go to other countries in the world has been developed and doing well, Bangladesh, China, Asia, they utilize the strength of the young people to develop their countries. How can young people be involved? But over the years, they have not been involved. But this current administration is doing its best to make sure that the young people are involved. You know, young people, they like to be motivated. Then how are they motivated? Sure, in this current administration, yeah, we have a youth who is also a youth minister. We've never had it before. So the young people are motivated. And there are so many measures that have been put into place, programs that are also encouraging them. The last general elections, the turnout was impressive. But I want to assure that this present, the upcoming election of 2027, the large number of young people that are going to participate is going to be very, very impressive. Why did I say so? Because they are beginning to feel the dividend of democracy.
They are beginning to touch power.
Yes, touch power. If you look at the corridors of power, a lot of young people are involved. They are carrying them along. If you look at so many programs that the government is even put into place, like the student loan, the NEF fund. NEF fund, look at the number of NEF fund as encouraged young people who are graduating, who are also into different tertiary institutions. They are being given a sense of belonging. If those kind of policies and programs has been in existence, when people like us secured admission and our parents were crying, there was no money, I would have become a professor like my co-guest that just left. Yes. But such program, NEF fund, wasn't in existence. So when young people start to feel the dividend of democracy, good governance, they will be motivated to participate in a civic responsibility. This is our own responsibility because many of us, we are 80 years and above. And the strength that is being needed to go to each of the polling units, we don't even need transportation. We don't need any means of transportation. I'm an INEC stakeholder. The organization that I head, CYMS, we also work with INEC to carry out different programs with INEC when it comes to the three circles of elections, pre-election, post-election, and the main election. We participate in it. This voters, continual voters registration exercise, we also involve in mobilizing young people to participate. So we know the strength of the youth and we know how they have been participating. So if the political class can also support the INEC and the government in ensuring that they are doing the right thing, young people will be highly motivated. Many of them, they are just focusing on politics. They are not focusing on governance. They're only interested in the activities of their political parties to secure the ticket and also go to the day of election to vote or to be voted for. But how about those young people who are also following you, seeing you as a leader? And this issue of one person coming out every day to come and be president, to come and be leader, to come and be senator is also what? Demoralizing. The young people are also voting for you. They also want to be voted for. But when it comes to the issue of every 4 years, I am 40-something today. I'll be 40-something in the next 4 years. So imagine in the next 8 years, will I also be 40-something? It's not possible. So I needed to also be voted for. Even this period, so many young people have been disenfranchised. How are they disenfranchised? Because some governors, after serving as a governor, they are going for Senate.
And the cost of forms.
And whereas the young people supposed to be the one to be going for Senate, who have been seeing them as a role model, who have been following them, who have been supporting them. Therefore, when they were contesting for House of Rep, for House of Assembly, you finish House of Assembly, you are going for Senate. You finish Senate, you are going for governor. You finish governor again, you are coming back to Senate.
So
how do you give young people sense of belonging?
Is it really about taking leadership position, or are we also thinking about how we are following? Are we following right in the first place? Because I mean, not everyone is going to lead. Right, but I think we can make our country better if the followers also do the right thing.
I understand.
So are the young people following right, or are they just following for what they can gain?
If I don't want that question to land, because these are the questions, these are the things we will be disabusing the minds of so many leaders. If you see that you are not a good follower, stop the person from following you. If you're not a good follower, following me, I will stop you from following me. That is leadership.
But how will you stop them?
Yes. I will put a machinery in place. I will put some things in place that will make sure that you will stop following, because I don't need such followers, especially people that are very close to me. I'm a leader. I know how many people have stopped working with me over the years because I want the best.
Because they don't have the passion?
They don't have the passion. Number one, they are selfish. Number two, they are not loyal. Number three, no sense of responsibility. And when there's no sense of responsibility, you cannot lead better than me. And I want to be a leader, to see my followers do better than me. So these excuses that so many of our leaders give It is not right. When a young person is following you, you should know that that person wants to also occupy the leadership position they are holding today. And this selfishness we are seeing among our leaders, having led, they will also give leadership position to their family members.
Family and friends.
Family and friends. And this is why young people, they are not motivated. They are being disenfranchised. They are not happy in participating in our governance, even these continual voters. There are some people like us that should be encouraging young people to go and register. How do we encourage them? It is when people like us are being given sense of belonging. No, apart from giving sense of belonging, it is also my right to convince people at the purview of my own position as Director General in CYMS. It is my duty and responsibility to engage Nigerian youth, to sensitize them to go and participate in this exercise.
Right,
but our leaders have serious role to play in ensuring that they give young people. There are so many roles that young people can play to give them sense of belonging. Bring them closer. Engage them. Create time where you can give them opportunity to also learn from you.
Dr. Falaya, I hope you will let my question land, because my question is hanging in the air.
It's hanging with Obina. Yes. Okay, before you go to that question, can I read one?
Yeah, sure.
That just came in. He said, "Good morning, Nigeria. Here in my state, nobody cares about the PVC. What they do here is to make sure his successor succeeds, because they know our vote don't count. I pray for peace in Nigeria." Suleiman Yarun Malam from Nasarawa State.
All right, maybe I should just take a cue. I should take a cue from you. I'll read this one. It says, "Good morning. Please, I'm sending this message from the riverine area of Akwa Ibom State. INEC suspended the voters' registration. Please, when will INEC be doing the registration again? It has started yesterday. Pay attention to the conversation, and it will be until 10th of July. So, okay, that's from Akwa Ibom. Another one says, "Good morning, great Nigerians and in the studio. Please, INEC should reward Nigerians who come out to stand out there for long during voting with at least a bottle of drinking water." Haba. Binta Suleiman from Kurudu. Thank you.
With which budget?
Budget for drinking water. I mean, we've seen the conversations, right? Now, despite we're having this program, somebody is still not in tune with the fact that INEC is having a registration exercise. You've heard the community leader, the youth leader, talk about, I mean, leaders not giving opportunity to young people to follow. There are so many issues about all of this. How do we get it right as we begin to round up the conversation?
Yes, we need to get it right. One of the key points of getting it right is when we are we place national interest, patriotism above our own personal interest. I agree with him that we have so many recycled leaders, and it gives us problem when we go out to talk to stakeholders, youth, community. You have so many recycled leaders, not only even recycling themselves, like you rightly said. Somebody will be a governor for 8 years. You go to House of Representative before becoming a governor. Then after your governorship term, 2 times, you are aiming for Senate, and then you are even bringing your son to go to National Assembly as a House of Rep member, or even State Assembly. So all these are symptoms and signs of people not being patriotic, not having the love of the country. So we will get it right when we think about Nigeria, when we think about posterity, when we feel, okay, well, this is my country and I want to contribute my quota and I want to do it right. I want to leave a country and name that I can be proud of, and then I want a country that I can be proud of. So first and foremost, patriotism is the key. We must love this country. We must know that the task to fix the country is a task for each and every one of us. And then we must also know that foreigners will not come and fix the country for us. We have so many challenges, but Nigerians will stay back to fix the country. So I want to use this medium to appeal to our leaders, to give our youth chance. I think you are happy about that. They should give the youth, they should give them chance. In giving them chance, we will reduce a large percentage of voter apathy. When we give, if they believe in the system, they have trust in the system. And then somebody also said that, I want to address that is there no aware that we have so many underage voters in the north? I want to say that one of the things that we do for INEC is feedback. feedback from feed, and with all sense of responsibility. Our officers across the north, we have state directors, we have zonal directors, we have state directors, we have local government, community orientation and mobilization officer. They've not given us report of underage. And I don't think that will be possible with the process in place, because you can't just come on INEC's website to say you are registering. You have to have NIN, which will show your actual age, or you have to have some of the things that Director of Voter Education, INEC, roll out the other time. You have to have maybe international passport, driver's license, which will show clearly your actual age. So I want to disabuse minds of the person that sending message that is not aware that we have a lot of underage voters in the north. Now is not aware of that, and it's not possible.
It's not possible.
Because you have to come with your NIN or any of the means of identification.
Okay, ma.
Can I chip in?
No, can I read something before you chip in? Okay, this one said, my name is Ayodeji Afeni. Voters' card should be a continuous form that citizens can access at all times with standard order through NIN or other national identity. Please, not until elections around the corner that will be running up and down. Is Afeni. And Jato from Jos said, good morning to the House. My take on this matter is voting is simple. We should use our phones to vote with, and anyone who have registered and refused to vote, his bank account should be frozen and his number banned. Jato from Jos. Yes, apart from that, before you respond, there have been a lot of call for electoral, reforms on diaspora voting and, early voting. And is it still on the pipeline?
Well, that is in the hands of our legislators.
Yes.
Civil society, or it's a citizenship thing. So that is basically out of the hands of the commission.
Yes.
So it's citizens themselves who can put their feet to fire to make sure that they pass these laws. The issue of voting with your phone, it's not in the hands of INEC. Whatever the law is, that's what we will do. So until the laws are amended, we can only continue the way the laws have spelled out the process for voting.
What are the constraints of INEC?
The constraints of INEC. One major constraint is the fact that a lot is put on us. So take, for instance, the issue of voter mobilization and sensitization. We've talked about the fact that political parties, who are the greatest beneficiaries, do little with regards to conscientizing and sensitizing citizens to be good Nigerians, so to speak, and to be active Nigerians. It's easy to mobilize them as thugs. It's easy to mobilize them to do the bad things for you, but you are not paving the way for them to take over from you. And so you now make it difficult. Vote trading, for instance. Again, political parties are the ones that are perpetrators of that. And so you make things difficult for us. Going again to the issue of logistics, we have the the transport unions. A lot of times they are always disappointing. And so you sign an MOU with them, on that day something happens. Unforeseen, something, after all the assurances, something happens.
Unforeseen or manipulation.
Exactly. So, but the blame would be on us. Oh, INEC is not in the field, INEC is, but I recall vividly when we went to Anambra, everything to the last I was dotted, as in, it was like a perfect plan. Then the next thing you start hearing, oh, these people are still at their racks. So a lot of times, looking even at the personnel that are used for election, what is the percentage of permanent staff for election? 90% of staff that are used for election are ad hoc staff. Is it the collation officers, they are university lecturers? Is it the presiding officers and the assistant presiding officers, they are either youth corpers or students? So, but we receive the blame. Yeah,
so
we are the...
Is INEC thinking out of the box to deal with some of these issues, or it's likely going to remain with us?
Well, it shouldn't remain with us. So we'll keep doing our best to ensure that we do not.
When you say your best, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, we're engaging, we're having discussions, so that each person or each party takes on the responsibility that is assigned to them, so that there will be a seamless partnership. We have our role cut out for us. We'll do ours. We'll try to be better in what we do as election administrators, but our stakeholders should be for the role that they're expected to play.
Have you tried
for us
prosecution for those who try to sabotage your efforts?
Another problem with prosecution, INEC cannot arrest. We work with the police, and so the police should arrest and hand over the case file to us. But a lot of times, again, considering the way the police are mobilized for elections, they bring them from across other states, and after that exercise, they go back to their states, and so it's difficult for you to now follow or pursue that case. So until we have a very seamless collaboration with the security.
Prosecution, I was talking about logistics. Let's look at that, for examul. You sign an MOU or an agreement with road transport workers, and when they renege on that agreement, what do? You just watch and sign again with them next year, next election cycle?
That is on the table. The issue of holding them accountable is on the issue going forward. The new chairman mentioned that. He threatened them with that no one is going to go free because you're even paid upfront. Payment is done, so it's not a matter of, oh, I wasn't paid for my services. So that is on the table. They will be held accountable for putting us in a fix and also disappointing the citizens.
Okay, thank you. Obinna, in your opinion, how prepared are the security agencies to protect voters and registration officials in, volatile areas in Nigeria? Insecurity is out there, and we have off-cycle elections coming up. So with this continuous voter registration, do you think we're going to see more voters voting, especially in the Gen Z and Alpha generation?
Over the time, as in the security agencies have been well prepared.
Okay.
The off-cycle election that we're going to is not taking place in all the states, just few states. And the continual voters registration exercise is not something too serious that is going to cause a lot of violence or those things. Most of those registration exercises will even be done online because of the interest of the Gen-Z and also the young people. So, I've been part of the Security Management Committee when it comes to the electoral body. Every election year, I've always been involved in the front line. You know exactly what they are doing. So, and I know the discussion is also ongoing for the off-cycle election. So there will be a lot of security personnel on the ground.
Do we have enough?
We have enough. But however, you know that there recently, ongoing, there's a police recruitment exercise that is ongoing. They just concluded their exams. So we are waiting for the screening. After the screening, they will be enlisted. A lot of them are also going to participate in the general election. About 50,000 personnel will be recruited. And most of those personnel, they have energy because they are young people and they are coming to serve, to protect our democracy and ensure that a free, fair, and a credible election in line with to work with also with the INEC. But however, the INEC also have serious role to play by engaging our security personnel, just like director also talking about lack of compliance by the road transport workers. It is not fair.
It's always a problem.
You're signing an MOU with them. There should be a legal binding if you're signing the MOU. Let them know that there's a consequences attached when you fail to comply. You understand? Because it was also affecting people like us that are also always on the field to observe the election. This recent FCT area council election, INEC was ready to conduct the election, but there was no vehicle to convey the sensitive materials to each of the polling units. I don't know how many places. We were able to cover about 4 local governments on that day of election. So we went around, we saw the readiness of INEC to conduct free, fair, and conclusive election. But this order of their partners, they are signing MOUs, they were not ready to assist the conduct of the election. So we are hoping that there will be no presence of militarization during the off-cycle election. But however, there should be need for sensitization. People like us are only aware there is an ongoing continual voting registration exercise. Going forward, maybe INEC should organize maybe a kind of a workshop program or media briefing so that you can inform Nigerian.
All right, thank you so much, Chief Waka. We're completely out of time, but I'd like in 30 seconds to hear the last words from Dr. Afolayan before we round off. Your final words to Nigerians, quickly, on this matter.
I want to appeal to Nigerians, especially the youth, to go out, to take opportunity of the continuous voter registration, to go out, obtain your PVC, and then come out on election day to vote.
All right, Victoria Etemesi.
I align myself with her. This exercise started in August 2025. We have 2 months now, and so, like the professor said, everything begins with registration. So if you do not register, then you have shot yourself in the foot.
Should Nigerians trust INEC this time around?
Please trust INEC. INEC will do it. Trust INEC.
1,000%. Okay. Okay, Mrs. Victoria Etemesi, Director of Voter Education and Publicity, INEC. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And we also had Abubakar Umar Kari, Professor of Political Sociology, University of Maiduguri. He left us at 8:30. Chief Obinna Nwaka, Director General Committee of Youth on Mobilization and Sensitization. It's a pleasure to see you again in the studio. And Dr. Olukemi Afolayan, Director Civic Values and Democracy Education, National Orientation Agency. Thank you so much for coming. We need to see more jingles, more awareness out there, so that we can commend you more.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. Thank you so much for watching. I am Jumma.
All right, our next says there'll be no glitches on the NTA, no glitches. I'm Ian Ray John. Live it up.